Hey, what's up, everybody? Eric here. Welcome to the Nocturnal Nerdcast Pop Culture After Dark. Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. I'm glad I had to postpone the stream. I wasn't going to, but we had to move a family member into a new place between yesterday and today. Today we finally got done around the middle of the afternoon. And I'm glad that I did it because we have the trailer for the newest trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. And I'm really excited to watch it, which is why both streams are titles in reference to that trailer. I've also noticed, maybe I'm missing something, but I've noticed that a lot of trailers tend to come out on Tuesdays, not Mondays. So we're going to talk about that in a second. What that might mean for the stream. We'll see. We'll get there. But the weather's nice today. It's going to be nice for the next few days. Probably rainy, but not freezing cold. So that's pretty exciting as well. I'm also very hungry. I know that's a random thought. I haven't really had a lot to eat today, so my energy levels are a little bit low, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have a good time. We absolutely are going to have a wonderful time. All right, couple of housekeeping things before we get started. I have them over here in my notes. All right, so if you're watching on the Debunks channel, my Critical Drinker Kathleen Kennedy video was claimed. I'm waiting for them to release it. It's not claimed by Critical Drinker. It was claimed by Lucas and Disney. So I have to figure out if they're going to let it go or not, and if not, I'll have to re-upload it. That's why that video didn't come out. It was supposed to be my Friday video. Obviously, I had no video Friday for that reason. Starting in, what's the date here? Starting on the March the 3rd, the Nerdcast will permanently be moving to Tuesdays. So it'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays until the end of spring. So for like 2 or 3 months, it'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I thought, okay, we've had so many trailers come out on Tuesdays. I have stuff I have to do on Mondays now. So I feel like that's a good shift. So Tuesdays and Thursdays. And there's another stream I want to talk about that I'm going to be doing just myself, like a solo stream earlier in the day each week. But more on that when we get to the end of the stream. The bonus after party that you guys voted for will happen in March now because I don't think Paige is going to be available the rest of February. So we'll be doing an after party on March the 14th. And is it the 14th? Let me double check. Yeah, March the 14th and March the 28th. So there'll be 2 after parties in March. All right. So get ready for that. And the last bit of news is I'm really excited. I will be doing shorts reviews starting in March for all the TV shows we have coming out. I already have my setup done in StreamYard, and those reviews will be less than 3 minutes. And then for the long form reviews of the shows, that will be an announcement that I'll make at the end of the stream. So if you want to hear that announcement, you have to stay until the very end. Most of you will, but if not, you have to come back and watch later. All right, with that being said, we do have one person in the green room, red room, blue room for now. And it is someone that I have not seen in a million years, and that is Darren. You're muted, by the way. Yeah, there you go. So, oh, we still can't hear you. Let me check over here. Talk, please. Oh, wait, whenever you get it set up.
Hello?
There you go. Yeah, I can see you in there now in the stage room. All right, there we go. So Darren, I wasn't sure if we were going to be having a stream on YouTube tonight or not.
Yeah.
I think it's only been up for like an hour, maybe
Something like that. We were doing Party Nation tonight, and like that's when it drops. Like the last 10 minutes of it. And like we were like, wait, are people still watching us? And some people were, some people fell off. Do we know why it cut out? Or was it just...
I don't think there's been any official announcement yet that I've seen. I know YouTube acknowledged it, and they said they were looking into it, but there's been no official announcement about why it happened.
Okay.
But I will say, for future, you guys, and I'm going to post the link now, Um, tell me if this works or not, everybody in the chat. This is going to be for future usage. This is my Twitch channel. Now, I don't use Twitch very often because I just don't, it doesn't do a lot for podcasting. Twitch is a gaming platform. It's for people that game. But if something like that happens again in the future and we are unable to access YouTube, I will stream to Twitch and then I will re-upload the podcast in its entirety to the YouTube channel. So like I will just take them, download them, upload them to YouTube, and you'll be able to watch them on playback there. But if you want to watch them live, if that ever happens again or something along those lines, my Twitch is there. It's all set up and ready to go. I just haven't used it much recently. So there's that. So if that works, that's my my Twitch channel. So feel free to go over and subscribe to that. All right. Enough of that. How have you been, Darren? I haven't seen you in a minute. People were saying you're working a lot or something. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think we've just like had weird schedules. I think just like I've been working a lot more mornings. So Nerdcast like getting done at 2 a.m. It hasn't been an option lately. But glad to be back. I don't work tomorrow, so
then you might enjoy my announcement at the end of the stream if you're here. Yeah, because I've got an idea. There's something I'm planning on doing starting probably in March, sometime in March. Okay. What's the first show we have in March, by the way, date wise?
Invincible, I think is. I mean, Monarch is February if you count right. Monarch. And then I think I marked it down for my show. Yeah, I think Invincible is like the last week of April, and then like going into March, you have like The Boys, you have Ted, you have Euphoria sometime in March. I doubt any of us are covering that, but still.
Yeah, but people are gonna watch it, I'm sure. So
Mall, I think, is later in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in other words, a lot of stuff. Okay. I'm really excited about what I'm planning on doing. So
Daredevil as well.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about what I'm planning on doing. We'll see how it works out. We're going to test it out for the spring to see how it works. So, anyway, if you guys want to donate tonight, I'm keeping it low again. I know people don't have a lot of, free money to do things. So it's still any amount. So $1 counts. 5 super chats on either Reloaded or Debunks will get us to the goal. I'm trying to make sure that you guys can participate without breaking the bank. So that's why I'm doing that. And thank you guys so much for continuing to participate. Also, if you don't have super chat, people were asking me about this. The Coffee or the Ko-fi link lets you use other things. Like, I believe PayPal and other ways that you can donate. And you can see the little bar down here under me. This is a separate goal. You have to create a goal. It doesn't really mean anything. In order for it to pop up on my screen, I have to have this here. So that's why it's there. But if you donate, it will pop up on the screen just like it does with the super chat. And you can do it that way without using YouTube's system. And I use it for my DJing as well. For people that want like music and things like that, I use that. So anyway, yeah, Kofefe, yeah. You can click there. It's in the pinned chat if you want to do that, because I know some people don't want to use Super Chat. They don't want to use Google, and they do want to donate. If you do, that's the way to do it. So I'm leaving the options there for everybody. But enough of that. We got some fun topics tonight, some interesting stuff. We will be reacting to the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. The actual trailer, not the teaser. Darren, were you on when we talked about the teaser?
Like months ago?
Yeah, with the Super Bowl.
Oh, no, I don't think I was on that one. No.
What did you think about that teaser? Because it was a throwback to old beer commercials and stuff like that.
I was low-key kind of a defender of it a little bit. Like, I think it was just a weird, like, expectation thing, right? Like, everyone was expecting, like, a trailer, a promo. And so when it was a commercial, I don't know. I think it was an expectation thing. Yeah. They probably should have just put out this the night of the Super Bowl. I still kind of think. Like, I think they probably, like, they did the teaser yesterday. They probably should have just aired that during the Super Bowl. because what's happened instead is there's been a lot of bad press around that Super Bowl ad.
Which is funny to me because I didn't have an issue with. I understood it, so I didn't watch it during the Super Bowl. I watched it live here with everybody for the first time, and as I was watching it, I immediately knew what they were doing with the ad. And I'm like, so it's not really a teaser. I did call it a teaser, but then I'm like, no, it's a commercial. It's an ad. It's not a teaser. It's like when Star Wars partners with Burger King and they make toys for Burger King and you get like a Burger King commercial. The problem is that people didn't appreciate it. They wanted a real trailer. And so fans were upset about it. And I was a little bit dismissive because I'm like, there's a bit of entitlement for expecting them to give you something just because you want it. But in hindsight, maybe this should have been, because I believe this was probably already done 2 weeks ago. They probably had this teaser already done. Yeah. And so when we look at it later, we will talk more about it. That's going to be in the second hour. But I'm excited to talk about it.
I was more disappointed with the Toy Story, I guess, product placement in the Levi's ad that they showed.
I saw that.
Where it's like a singular clip of Woody's ass when it's like a bunch of humans out. I was like, that's kind of a weird way to market it, like for a kids movie. I was like, all right, I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel like, so my theory about that Super Bowl commercial was, I think they were trying to market to the older group that has kind of walked away from Star Wars a little bit. Like, it's during the Super Bowl. They were probably like, hey, if we do this, the old folks will get it, and then they'll understand the joke. I to be fair though, people are still talking about it, and they haven't talked about any of the other Super Bowl ads. So I feel like the marketing department did make it work for them because people are still talking about it. So there's that.
I mean, we've talked about this. Like, they need to win over the casual audience with this one. Like, we're gonna watch it. They need to make sure mom and dad, who hasn't watched a Star Wars movie since 2019, we need to make sure they go see this movie.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the first topic. This was fun. I made a short about this. By the way, a lot of times moving forward, not only will my rant and reviews be shorts for starting in March, but sometimes when I have topics for the Nerdcast, I might preview it a little bit in a short before we get to it, only because I've found it to be very easy for me to sit down and sort of do that. I still am not a big believer in shorts doing a net positive for everything on your channel, but YouTube is all in on it, and I think ignoring it completely is probably not a good idea. So I'm going to try and be a little more proactive with shorts as well, even if it's only just to sort of get the ball rolling. I can't wait to do rant and reviews of shorts, though, because I used to do those for Arrow and Flash, and they were always a lot of fun. So I'm just going to do them instead of like 8-minute videos, they're now 3-minute videos, but I think it'll still be a lot of fun. So I saw this, and this kind of shocked me. I never thought I'd be seeing his name in anything in 2026, but Baywatch reboot, Stephen Amell to lead Fox reboot of lifeguard drama. Now, for a moment, I'm like, didn't we already get a reboot of Baywatch? But it was like a movie. It was like a 2017 movie. I don't think there's been an official TV reboot. I think this is the first one, right?
And I think this is technically, if I remember correctly, not even a reboot. It's like a sequel series, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's supposed to be, I could be wrong with this, but I think it's supposed to be canon to the original Baywatch TV show. Yeah,
because he's playing the son of one of the lifeguards from the original series, I think. So, all right, let's read the article briefly here. Stephen Amell has landed a lead role in Fox's upcoming Baywatch reboot, Variety has learned. This is the first confirmed casting. Actually, there's another one now. I saw somebody else was cast as well, but I can't remember who it was. This is the first confirmed casting for the series, which was picked up for the 2026-27 broadcast season by Fox back in September 2025. I don't even remember seeing it announced. Like, I don't remember that at all. I mean, I'm obviously it happened, but it's a 12-episode order, which is crazy. We're getting 12 episodes instead of like 8 or 10. So I'm like, are we trying to find like that happy medium between longer seasons of shows and shorter seasons?
It's network TV though. Like, they typically do the like 13 or 22 episode
Yeah.
Still, it's just not the shows we watch typically.
But also, I want to point out the fact that this is on streaming TV is quite interesting to me, because this seems like a show that would have been primed for like a streaming exclusive, but they're putting it out on regular television.
It's network, yeah.
Yeah. There's Fox is set to host an open casting call for the show on February 18th, which is tomorrow, with production set to begin this spring in Los Angeles. Amell will star as Hobie Buchanan, described as the wild child we all love from the original series. I don't know if I see Stephen Amell as a wild child. Like, he's very stoic usually, so that's a little, I don't know. He's going to be playing out of character for himself, I
mean,
guess.
Oliver Queen started off as like a wild child, right?
I guess that's fair.
If you look at the flashback stuff.
Yeah. He's a Baywatch captain following in the footsteps of his legendary father, Mitch. Hobie's world is turned upside down when Charlie, the daughter he never knew, shows up on his doorstep. I wonder if it's going to be she's from the future and eager to carry on the Buchanan family legacy. Oh, so yeah, it is. It's Mia. Become a Baywatch lifeguard alongside her dad, so she wants to pick up the mantle. This seems very similar to a series called Green Arrow, or Arrow with the Green Arrow character. The role keeps Amell in the broadcast world as we recently led the short-lived Suits spinoff, Suits LA at NBC. He is best known for playing the lead role on the hit CW series Arrow. He also had Heels, by the way, which I thought Heels was pretty well received. Even though Suits wasn't, I thought Heels was.
Yeah.
From the first conversation, Stephen Amell brought exactly what this new chapter of Baywatch demands: heart, intensity, and that undeniable hero energy. He's the kind of lead who can sprint into danger, carry the emotional weight, and still make it fun. We're so excited to get started. So, what are Darren, give me your full thoughts on that. I mean, obviously, Baywatch isn't our typical, like, material to talk about.
Yeah.
But Stephen Amell being an alum from Arrow, I feel like it's worth at least mentioning, right?
No, for sure. I think, say what you want about Steven, because obviously we got thoughts on him and the things he did. It's so interesting going back, to 2023, where, like, we were saying he's never going to work again. Steven's never going to get a job in this industry again. He got Suits, which was it did get canceled, but at the time, that was a big deal. Suits was a very big show. And Baywatch is another very popular show, or like IP, I guess. So, say what you will about Steven, probably the most successful post-Arrowverse actor right now. Like, he's had 3 leads. He's had 3 separate leads since Arrow. That's impressive. In this industry, that is very, very impressive.
And he broke out of the he's broken out of the what word am I looking for? Like the CW network stuff. Like, he's gone on to streaming shows, and now he's on network television again, from Suits to this. So, I mean, obviously he's rubbed people the wrong way with some of the stuff that he's done, especially when it comes to like the union and everything. Do you think, and we're going to move on after this, and chat, I want you guys to chime off on this too. Do you see him as like a Baywatch guy? Like, is that based on what you know of Baywatch as a franchise? Do you see him as that character? Because I'll be honest, I don't see him as a Baywatch guy. He's more of like a rugged, like, I see him as like what is it? The Jared Padalecki type, stuff. That's the kind of stuff I see him in. So,
How old is he?
I don't know. I want to say Stephen Amell is in his late 30s. Let me double check. Let me look it up. Hold on.
I don't know. Like, 6 years ago, I may have said yeah. Like, when Arrow was in his prime, I maybe would have been like...
Ow! No, I was wrong. What
is he?
He's 44, almost 45 years old. So...
Yeah.
I mean, he looks good for somebody that age, but still, it's a little strange, right?
It's interesting, and I'm curious to see if there's still a place for Baywatch in our current culture, because, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I from what I've heard over the years, Baywatch was so successful because at the time there was a lack of material for people to watch in the older demographics,
Mhm.
if you will, right? Like that was one of the reasons why it did so well the first time. So I'll be curious to see how it does now with the new audience, with that not being an issue for people. Because like at one point in time, Baywatch was the #1 TV show in the world. Like it was breaking records. It was doing big things. So I hope this one goes well for him. You know, he's had 2 shows get canceled so far post Arrow. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna watch the first episode. I'm gonna watch it just because I want to see how he does in the role.
Yeah.
Jonathan here says 2 seasons, then it gets canceled. I mean, if he gets 2 seasons, that's still pretty good.
What's on? I've not been paying attention to Fox for a while. What are they doing right now? What's on? Like, what kind of content are they currently making?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Current shows.
We're in the streaming world, so who knows what's on actual network television, to be honest.
Simpsons, Family Guy, 911, Masked Singer. Oh, 911 left a long time ago. I don't know what they're talking about. I want like the current Fox. Let me see, 2026. It's a lot of like reality TV. You have like Masked Singer. You have like Master Chef. You have Animal Control.
Jay Selder says Hell's Kitchen and other Gordon Ramsay shows. So
yeah, Best Medicine. Like these are a lot of like reality TV. There's not a lot of scripted content anymore for Fox. So that's interesting. You have Doc, which is like a medical drama. So okay, interesting. I don't know. We're like past the days where like you would see like a Gotham on Fox. So,
all right. So I'm going to start the poll now in the Reloaded channel. Let me read off what the options are, and then we're going to move to the next topic. So if we hit the goal tonight, here are the options, everyone. I think there's some good ones in here, but I am biased. Good, bad, and bad movies and TV shows. What that means is we will talk about, we'll give our top 3 movies that are so bad, they're good. So things that we know are not good, but we still love them and they're redeeming. Top 3 best animated sequels. So sequels to animated movies that were either as good as the originals or maybe better than the originals. Animated movies that need sequels. Now, these are franchises that either stopped and you want them to come back, or we only got one of them and they never followed up. And last category is top 3 best TV shows with women leads. So it leaves the door pretty open there. So those are our options for tonight. And if we hit our 5 super chats over the course of the stream, we will be covering those. All right, with that being said, here's our next topic. Let me go ahead and pull this up. So we talked about this the other night, Darren. Obviously, you weren't here, but ByteDance, the TikTok owner overseas, has created an AI model called Cdance 2.0, which allows them to pretty easily copy like full-on IP, like actors' voices, their likeness, movie sets, things like that. It's pretty good for a short clip. Like they're not great. I think it's obviously AI slop, but it's good enough that it's become an issue for the studios. And they sent out a cease and desist. Now, did you see any of these videos that were being used online that people were sharing from this particular app?
I don't know about this one. There's so many different AI apps now. It's hard to keep track, but I've seen a lot of these kind of videos. I've seen a lot of them going around.
Well, the one in particular was the Brad Pitt versus Tom Cruise fight.
I did see this one.
That's the big one because apparently both Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise chimed in on it, and they were like, "We didn't consent
Yeah.
to having our likeness used. I mean, it's not just visuals; it was their voices.
It's yeah.
There's a whole video. Somebody made the fidelity is one of the issues we're having with AI, where things are not, because you can only make a certain amount of time before it makes you do another prompt, and it doesn't always hold fidelity. But I think the issue here is actors. You could make an actor say and do stuff that could ruin their career if it were believable enough. I think we're reaching a really weird spot when it comes to media. And we have here, I want to show this, and then we'll go back to the article. So,
Oh God.
I want to point out that I don't see this as a replacement for cinema anymore. It is just online slop at this point. But I do think that C-Dance or ByteDance wants to perfect this so they can sell it to Hollywood. And that's why they're sort of playing ball with the cease and desist, because they really don't have to at the moment. But let's watch this clip and you'll see why it's not good. Like, this looks like the actors. It looks like the characters. It feels like a commercial or an ad for something. But the dialogue, you can tell that it's not the same as an actor actually acting in these scenes.
Yeah.
It's just doing what it thinks the actors would do. And that's kind of interesting. Plus, I think that this Joker is actually Joaquin's Joker that's supposed to look like Heath Ledger, which is really weird. Anyway, here we go.
I'm lasering this whole place.
Stop whining. Pick a meal. Your temper is wasteful, boy.
Why so serious? Let's just put a smile on that waiter's face.
It's just it's online meme stuff. I don't see how this in its current state. I saw a Spider-Man video where he's literally flying around the city like he's holding his arm out like he's on a web, but he's like going every direction and never shooting another web. It's just, what's going to happen, this is my prediction.
Yeah.
Is they're going to try and sell this to Hollywood so Hollywood can use it to offset labor, but not replace entire, like it's not going to replace an entire field, but it might replace a dozen workers that do post-production editing or something like that. So anyway, the article here says Warner Brothers cease and desist say TikTok owner made deliberate design choices to rip off its IP. The studio, which joins Paramount and Disney in sending cease and desist to ByteDance, accuses the company of deliberately rolling out C-Dance 2.0 without safeguards. We already know that's true. ByteDance's rollout of its AI video generator follows a well-worn playbook capitalizing on the interest in iconic characters across movies, TV shows, and comics in a tit-for-tat battle for users. Release the technology without guardrails, get buzz on social media, then announce safety measures presented as preventing the unauthorized use of studio-owned intellectual property after being threatened with legal action. And I think this is what we're seeing across the board. It's like asking for forgiveness after you've done something wrong. Yeah. Instead of asking for permission, you just ask for forgiveness. You're like, I'm going to do it, and then if it's wrong, I'll just say I'm sorry and I won't do it again.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening here. And so I truly believe that the entire purpose of this is for ByteDance to show, hey, we can do photorealistic, movements and audio in these scenes, and we want to sell this technology to the highest bidder. That's what I think they're doing. I don't know if that's what's going to happen ultimately, but that's where I feel like it is. We did get a super chat here from Columbia Rican. $5 super chat. Thank you so much. AI being introduced to society is literally Pandora's box being opened. Sadly, there's no going back now, which is the sad truth. Yeah, I actually had several conversations about this on other live streams. At this point, there's no getting away from it. I got a new phone the other day because my old phone kicked the bucket. And it's littered with AI throughout the entire phone. There's no getting away from it. It's part of the UI for the phone. Like I even asked them while I was there, is there a phone out right now from Samsung, which is the phones I typically get? Is there a Samsung phone out right now that has the processing power that I want to make thumbnails and videos and things like that? that doesn't have AI? And he said, no, they all have AI. And obviously the Google Pixels have AI now with Gemini. We have AI on the Apple phones. There's no getting away from it. So at this point, the only thing I can do is I can petition for regulations and environmental, thinking about the environment, being conscious about the environment while they're doing this, because that's the only way it's going to happen. It's not going to go anywhere. And I want to point out that it's not even really AI. Thank you for the super chat, Columbia Rican. It's not even really AI. It is an aggregate that composites things and it does a pastiche of other things into a new thing, but it's not creating anything new. It's just taking other stuff. That's why it's really hard for them to make a fake person look real in AI, because that person is not created from nothing. It's a collage of other elements put together into one thing. And so I don't know. How do you feel about AI? Is your opinion changed on it, or is it about the same as it was, a year ago?
It's I think I've grown a little bit in just the like, this isn't going away. I think I've lost hope a little bit where it's like, unfortunately, this is a thing. And I'm kind of with you where it's like, as much as I hate it and as much as it pisses me off, like, now I think we do have to just be fighting for, like, okay, we have to put rules in place. Like, people are not going to be giving this up. This is something people are going to continuously consume, but we have to put borders up. We have to put something up. And, I don't know. It's, every, like you said, every app we use uses AI now. TikTok uses it. And, like what we're using right now is littered with AI, literally all over the place. This app is pushing it like crazy, and now it doesn't even give you an option nowadays. It's just like, here it is, use it. I don't want to.
I actually preferred, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but I just want to reiterate this. When the clips were better, like it would just pull out a minute of relevant media from your streams or whatever, and it would give you like a weird amount. Like you might get 5, you might get 20. It really depends on what it found. But now they've decided to monetize it. The clips are even worse, and you only get 6 of them.
Yeah.
YouTube is really just, they'll keep trying AI stuff until people reject it. I know I have to go into my the back end of our streams and turn off all the AI stuff each time I stream.
Yeah.
Like AI summaries. Why would I want an AI summary of a stream where we're talking for like 2 hours so people can just not engage in the content that I'm making? What's the point of even doing it? And that's why I think it's a very dangerous and slippery slope for YouTube, because if they try and replace people's content 100%, then they're not going to have people making content anymore. Yep. And that's just the reality of it.
I'm so close to quitting Facebook. I'm so close, because all of my entire friends list are taking their families and putting AI filters on them and putting them in like the beach and the ocean, and they're making them superheroes. I have a filmmaker, like friend of the family, someone that like got me into, not the industry, but like kind of got me that interest. He made films, he made movies, and his newest movie is just an AI movie. He's just, it's like he filmed stuff, but it's filtered with like special effects where they're flying, and all his posters are AI. And I'm like, where'd the passion go? Where'd the creativity? Like, this is not the person I knew 10 years. Like, what? It's I don't know, man. It's
the only real usage that I've found for AI for me is organizational. Like when I put my ideas down and I'm like, hey, help me sort of organize where this makes sense for me. Sure. And that's it. But that's not taking a job away from anybody. That's literally just helping me organize my own thoughts. But AI typically is replacing industry. Like they're saying now that Amazon tried to replace a bunch of workers with AI, found out it didn't work, had to hire a bunch of them back. There's an actual article where they were using AI to do surgeries and it was fucking up in surgeries.
Yeah, no, that I am so anti. And again, this is something that has had the writing on the wall for years now. Like when I was not growing up, but like I was getting older, I was pretty anti like going into a restaurant and them having the tablet there instead of having waiters.
Oh, I hated that. Now it's
That's
everywhere
where it
though.
started. That's how it started.
We went into a pizza place here locally, and I kid you not, we didn't see anybody. The storefront was there where you go up and you like select your pizza and everything. Everything is a QR code, and when you're ready to pay, there's no register. You have to pay through your phone at your table, so you never even go up and talk to anybody. You order everything through a QR code, somebody brings it out to your table, and then you pay on with a QR code.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah. And like some of these things, like I think in some ways I'd be more open to it if there was a railing on some of these things. Like in theory, you know, there's these ideas where like, okay, these things could help us, you know, do these hard jobs faster. And like part of me is like, okay, I can understand that, but where does it stop? Like
Right.
like where do you go? This is like a weird comparison, but on this season of The Pit, they're doing an AI plotline where they are using like AI to put in notes to help the process of doing their medical things faster for they can get help more patients. And like on the surface I'm like, okay, that's a good idea on the surface. Helping more people is a good on surface, but like how accurate can that be? How many mistakes is that going to make? Are we eventually at a point where we're not going to need doctors because we have replace them with artificial, you know, whatever to help, you know. So it's like there needs to be that guardrail there to make sure we don't go over the edge.
Well, one thing I think they're going to have to do, and this is going to happen in the chat. Like I'm right about a lot of this stuff. I'm wrong about a lot of things, but I'm right about a lot of the predictions on technology. In order for AI to function without taking people's jobs away, governments are going to have to sanction companies and say you have to have X amount of human beings working for your company, or we're going to tax you at a certain rate. Like, for example, your tax rate will be 10% if 55% of your workforce is human. But if your workforce is less than 55% human, we'll tax you at 35%. That's the only way it's going to work, because otherwise these companies are just going to keep getting rid of people. And capitalism really forces companies to try and make the most money they possibly can. So really government sanctions is the only way it's going to work. And I'm not a fan of government sanctions on businesses. I don't like the idea that somebody's small business, like a mom and pop who might have 3 employees, they can't use AI registers because it might offset the balance of their employees. You know what I mean? Like I hate that. But then you have large companies like Walmart and Amazon and fucking, you know, just any of these big companies where they're just waiting to fire people. We have a super chat here from Cody, a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Cody. So many people think that the bubble will burst and it will vanish. It will not. I do think there's a bursting bubble, but I don't think it's going to vanish. Like I think we will reach a point where, and Darren, you weren't here when I talked about this, but where AI is learning off of AI and it starts to damage the intelligence of AI, because eventually it will reach a point where it's learned all relevant information, and then it will start leeching off of itself. And so eventually the information will become redundant and it will stop functioning the way it's supposed to. There's already articles about this out there if anybody wants to go and look it up. So I think that will happen. But that's only temporary. I think we will see an evolution of AI into something a bit more, when it starts quote unquote thinking for itself, then we've got issues. And that gets into like ethical stuff.
I think by the time it pops, it's too late to go back. Right? I think you know, people are going to realize, oh, we made a mistake and we can't. You know,
Columbia Rican here with a $5 super chat says Philip K. Dick definitely saw for this. Blade Runner feels more of a movie that predicted all of this than anything else. So you mean like a cyberpunk dystopian future where human beings kind of rely on, you know, modifications to their body and things like that? Yeah, I agree with you. I think we are heading in that direction. I think there are some great things that AI can do. I think AI as a tool to help people function better in their fields is absolutely a useful thing. I think AI to replace people because corporations are fucking greedy is bad. Yeah. That's where I draw my line at. We got one more AI article, and this one's very, very dystopian though. Meta has the AI patent to keep you posting after you die. Did you see this?
No.
So if you're on Facebook, and they say they're not going to implement this, but that's just because they got caught, because somebody found the patent. So essentially what this does is, say for example, you have a family member, a grandparent, who uses Meta every day. And we all have those family members that are on Facebook posting 24/7, right? Meta will learn this person's personality and what they tend to say and things they tend to do. And once they're gone, the page will go into like a memorial page, but the person will continue to post and you can continue to message them and talk to them. Meta is going to learn their personality and pretend to be them forever on Facebook.
Well, I don't know why you'd want this. I mean, I understand why you'd want it. I mean, like, we had a big conversation about this when, like, Ironheart came out.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the lesson of that show, is why this is a bad idea. That and I think we talked about this when that Stan Lee stuff came out, of like his his memorial, when we are now given the opportunity to bring back our loved ones. That is going to do immense damage to how we grieve over people we lose. And I think death will slowly stop having meaning, because who cares if we die? We'll still be in our people's lives, right? You know, we'll still have Facebook, you know, posting their stuff.
You want to talk to your grandmother that passed away? Just log on to Facebook and have a conversation with her. It's really creepy.
I can kill her. It's fine.
And here's the crazy thing. They will be able to repost stuff that they would normally have found interesting, status updates. They will be able to upload new photos of themselves based on AI photos that are just recreating. So sitting outside having lemonade today after they passed away.
I don't get why you'd want this. I really don't. It's so creepy and eerie, and like I even get weird when I log onto Facebook and I just see the account, like not even posting on it, when like seeing an account of someone that, you know, has passed away. I get a little sad, being like, oh man, that's, you know, that's their account. Why? I don't understand. I mean, I even have an issue with, like, I don't know if it's Marvel or if it's his grandkids or whatever, but like there's someone I think on Twitter that's still actively using the like Stan Lee account.
I've seen that. Yeah. I think it is somebody that works for Marvel.
That's creepy as hell to me. I don't like that whatsoever. I think that is such a weird
Think
thing.
about this. What if, because it says here, spokesperson said we have no plans to move forward with this example. Well, then why do you have it? Why do you have it? Come on.
We're waiting for the okay. Yeah.
What happens when we start to get the AI photorealistic versions of just general people? So for example, if your grandparent passes away, no, say this, your spouse, right? You're married to someone, they pass away. You will be able to video chat with them as themselves in a video that looks like them and sounds like them and even thinks like them.
Yep.
On Facebook. Like you can do a one-on-one video chat with someone that has passed away, a spouse, a loved one, something like that. They might even be able to go live. Hey, going live just to tell everybody it's my birthday. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. And they've been dead for 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got Lone Wolf, the $5 super chat. AI is also the cause of a Ramageddon. $400 for 2 sticks of RAM. GPU prices are insane now. I blame NVIDIA. I just want to upgrade my PC. Yeah, so this is another issue. Not only is it environmentally a disaster because of the fresh water consumption, but chip manufacturing was already fucked up because of COVID. We never fully recovered from that. And now AI is burning through chips. The crypto people are burning through chips. These chips are just they can't manufacture them fast enough to do things. And if you go now and you go to buy a computer, good luck finding a deal. You better wait for things to go on sale because otherwise you're going to spend a ton of money. Computers are ridiculous. They're double the price they were just a year ago now. It's insane. Staggervore with the 499 super chat. I'm most likely wrong about this, but AI could be one of the trends that dies out after a certain period. I don't think it'll die. I think it'll just evolve into something else. Like the AI that we have right now will not be the same AI we have in 5 years. You know what I mean? So like the AI we have now, shit posting and stuff like that, in 5 years, AI will be fully functionally people on social media. Like we might have actual AI influencers where, because we have it now. It's not perfect, but we kind of have it now. But 5 years from now, companies like Pepsi or McDonald's could possibly have AI influencers that exist only on social media to talk about their products. They don't have to pay anybody for it. So I feel like that's a pretty high probability. Anyway, AI is dystopian as fuck. All right. We got a $9.99 super chat from Kevin Terrell here. I asked Erodtic, if studios have been losing money since 2016, why is the media continuing? None of these grifters brainstormed this. The quote-unquote message can't be more powerful than the investors' pockets. It's not. This is why they're grifter. Like, there's a lot of reasons why these channels grift and scam people. This is the big one. Star Wars is dying, but somehow Star Wars is still continuing. Disney is dying. Somehow Disney is still continuing. It's still the #1 movie studio in the world by a lot. They've made profits every year. Like, the arguments don't make sense. They're keeping things from people. I've said this many times. Birdman has said this many times. The outdated method of movie making being solely based on the box office is gone. Those days are gone. Yes, it's a huge chunk of money, but it's not the only place that these movies make money.
Yeah.
Movies make money on like it went in 2 years' time. VOD money and sales accounted from 25 million to over 100 million, which means on average, when a movie leaves the box office and goes to home streaming, it makes around $100 million more than whatever its total box office is. This is the average. Of course, it's an estimate, right? You don't know exactly dollar for dollar, but it's an estimate, just like the budgets are an estimate, just like the marketing is an estimate. All these things are estimates. These guys never, ever talk about that. And you're right. Board of directors, people that work with these studios are not going to say, hey, we want women to be the face of these movies, even if it's losing us money. We want gay people to be in these movies, even if it's losing us money. That's not the way it functions. It's not the way it works. But they can't tell you that because they have to keep their people locked in to whatever their lies are. So thank you for the super chat, though. I do appreciate it. All right. We got about 10 minutes before we jump into our main topic. Let's see what we got next. Let's do this one. Tomb Raider. Sophie Turner had some comments about the Tomb Raider TV show that's got people upset. I'm going to read them out and give my thoughts on them. Sophie Turner says she didn't want her Lara Croft to be a sex bombshell in the new Tomb Raider remake. So let's see what she actually said. If she said, because the only quote they use here is sex bombshell. The rest of it seems like it might be a little bit of conjecture there. Sophie Turner wants to ensure that her version of Lara Croft in the forthcoming Tomb Raider remake highlights the character's capabilities rather than her looks. Imagine that. Imagine an actor wanting to do a project where they actually get to act and they're not just there to wear a bikini. That's pretty shocking. Based on the iconic video game franchise, Amazon Prime's Video's new live-action series will serve as an origin story for Croft, a highly intelligent and resourceful British archaeologist. And Turner says here, it's about her and her story and what drives her, rather than what so many people also love about her, which is how hot she is in the games and the movies. Turner said that Croft will not be a sex bombshell, explaining her desire to show off another side of the beloved character. She's so unashamedly capable. She's not a woman who hides her strengths at all. And that's all the quotes. Just reading here. I guess she said, I also realize it's much easier to kind of build muscle. So if you've worked out before in your life, which I never have, so it's taken me months and months and months to get in good shape. So this is a very misleading headline.
Yeah.
Very surprise, an article from the Independent or any of these sites using hyperbole to actually, go after these actors. I can't wait until we get to a point where this is no longer profitable. And what I mean by that is creating sensational headlines that do not reflect the actual context of the quote. And this is what we see a lot of people on YouTube doing. She just wants the character to be more than one-dimensional, meaning she doesn't want the character to walk around in a bra and panties, and that's the entirety of this character's storyline. Why make a TV series doing softcore pornography when you can find it for free on the internet? That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. So the show has to be a show that makes sense, right? Are you a fan of Tomb Raider at all? Are you familiar with it, or?
I've never consumed Tomb Raider content, which is why I'm a very casual gamer. There's all these gaming franchises I've never gotten into, but that's the exciting part of shows like this. I was like, okay, this is my chance to step into that limelight a little bit. I don't know. I think the community around this show has already just been so exhausting. I assume you talked about it on here, but I did a whole rant on my show complaining about that stupid GameStop post that they made on Twitter being like, this isn't our Lara Croft. And I'm like, you are like a representation of the gaming community. This is such a bad look. This is such a, this show doing well can only help your product and what you sell. Like, what are we doing? But this is such a basic take. This is such a 2016 take where it's like, hey, yeah, I don't want to just be a pair of boobs. I want to be an actual character. I want to actually be able to play with this character. And from what I understand, the games have done that for a while. It's just what people see, right? It's just what people know.
It's so one of the things you'll see from a lot of these outlets and channels is they'll take one tiny thing and they'll build an entire narrative around one tiny thing. So the narrative right now is she's not as sexy as the character from the video games. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Even though the games themselves cover all kinds of storylines around Lara Croft that have nothing to do with how big her boobs are, but you would be hard pressed to figure that out based on what these guys are saying.
Sure.
So it's really crazy. All right, so let's take a look. We're gonna do one more thing here before we jump into the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, which I'm really excited to watch. Here we go.
Have you watched it yet, by the way?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it yet?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I thought this would be good to do this one first before we jump into anything Star Wars related. Netflix uncancels Gina Carano for MMA fight with Ronda Rousey. I'm like, if you can uncancel someone, then they're not really canceled. Right? When somebody gets socially canceled, that means they're gone. Like Hartley Sawyer. They disappear. We don't ever see them in anything again. Gina Carano has never truly been canceled. When she stopped working for Disney and Star Wars, she was working with Daily Wire. She had other opportunities to make money. She still had a social media platform. She had all of these places that she could go and talk. She was on podcasts. She was never truly canceled. So this Hollywood Reporter headline is weird to me because how are you canceled when you're still all over the news? She literally just got done with a lawsuit from Disney not even a few months ago.
Yeah.
That's not canceled. Canceled means you lose your ability to speak out at all. You are blacklisted. Kevin Spacey was essentially canceled. That's what cancellation looks like. What happened with Gina Carano was not cancellation. Let's see what the article says here. Netflix has another dream fight 10 years too late. Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano will go toe-to-toe in an MMA fight on Saturday, May 16th. The match will stream live on Netflix from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. The rest of the card will be announced at a later date. Rousey, 39, and Carano, 43, will face off as featherweights. The fight will be professionally sanctioned under the United Rules of MMA and take place over 5-minute rounds using 4-ounce gloves. I don't know what any of this means, by the way. Been waiting so long to announce this. Me and Gina Carano are going to throw down in the biggest super fight in women's combat sport history. And we're partnering with the Fighter First Promotion MVP, as well as the biggest and baddest streamer on the planet, Netflix. This is for all MMA fans, past, present, future, more to come, much more. You know what? I hate this take. I'm going to read this out, but I'm going to tell you why I hate this. Readers will remember Carano from being fired from The Mandalorian after her outspoken conservative views ruffled feathers on social media. This is a very, very slap on the wrist explanation of what happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't conservative views, unless you would agree all conservatives are Holocaust deniers and things like that. Like unless you agree that they're not conservative views. They were gross views that she had about trans people and tried to pretend that conservatives were the same as people in World War II Germany, as Jewish people. That was what she did.
Yeah.
That's not quote unquote conservative views. Those are fringe views that she was using. But outside of that, she was given every opportunity to fix this problem on set, and she chose not to do it. Also, wasn't fired. She wasn't actually fired. The contract came up to get renewed so she could go out and do a show for Disney and Lucas, and they decided not to renew the contract. That's not the same as being fired. She wasn't let go. They didn't go, hey, we're going to end your contract and you're out of here. They didn't renew the contract. And legally they were allowed to do it, which is why she was never able to get them on that, and she had to go after them for sexism. It's so crazy that Hollywood Reporter, that this is their quote in this article. And then she knew she wasn't going to get a better deal, so she settled with Disney. However, I feel like this announcement we're seeing here was specifically done because they knew there was a Star Wars trailer coming out today. I think they were aware of that. And because they were aware of that, they wanted to make the timing at the same time. So at least they actually put a little thought in this release. And I also don't think that it is one of those things where they just decided to do it out of the blue. I think they knew. They had inside sources that were telling them, that Disney was going to be releasing their trailer today.
Is this her just trying to rebrand herself? Like, is this that her being like, well, I'm probably not working in Hollywood again. I'm not working with Disney again. Going into a different industry and trying to kind of rebrand MMA. That's in like the wrestling realm, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that realm kind of can lend yourself to be a little bit unlikable at times too. Like even if she is canceled, I feel like you can play that into the narrative a little bit if you want to. Like it's not as restricting as like your acting or singing career, which is kind of thrived on people liking you, if that makes sense. So I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting, I guess.
So Columbia Rican says great incoming Chud videos praising Gina Carano. Well, it's going to be really interesting to see if they even pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because that's the real thing is like, do they still care about her? Is she still in the culture war for them? Because she can't speak about anything related to Disney because she's probably under an NDA because of the lawsuit, meaning that she'll probably never be able to talk about that. You know what I mean? So
it would depend if she wins, right? Like I think if she wins, they'll probably push that narrative of like Gina Carano on top. She's proven Disney wrong, whatever. But if she loses, they'll be like, all right, it'll be crickets. Like there'll be no reason for them to talk about it.
Yeah, Kevin says it's also Ronda trying to rebrand herself because she was not a big star in the WWE and she made negative comments about the WWE. So I guess it's the two women that are just trying to sort of, make a comeback or something. All right, so before we get into this trailer, I want to say there are some tweets we're going to look at afterwards about it. But I've seen a lot of people excited for it. So in the chat, drop pizza slices if you're excited for this upcoming movie and you were happy with the trailer. And drop some tomatoes if you weren't. Let me know you didn't like it. Now, I will say Disney has been pretty good about not removing trailers from my streams recently. So there's a possibility that this is going to be here.
Yeah.
But if it's not, you can go and watch it and then come back and you'll hear us talk about it. So,
I've heard no issues about it getting claimed or blocked.
okay.
Or anything like that. So
which is good. We're watching trailers. You should let us watch trailers. I would never watch an entire movie on YouTube that's copyrighted, but I'd like to watch trailers and teasers. So let us do that, please. All right, here we go. The music already.
Hey, never touch the buttons. I can use some information.
Whoa, for this price, I'll tell you whatever you want.
I'm looking for a hut.
Close for the night. Thank you.
Gangsters. War criminals.
Long live the Empire.
We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
This isn't about revenge. It's about preventing another war.
Strap in.
You will suffer.
Oh,
It will be his turn.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor. The kid will live centuries beyond me. I won't always be around to protect him.
Are you scared? You should be.
Do we run? Or do we fight?
I like this kid.
What are you waiting for? Let's save the rest for after dinner.
all right. So I don't know. It looks fun to me.
it was fun.
It looks like a fun movie. I see there's some interesting comments in the chat. We're gonna go through those as well. Let's see what we got here. Let's go up here. We see some pizza slices. Look at this. Lots of pizza. This admittedly is like the 10th time in a row you use pizza as a positive symbol. Maybe it's time for a switch. Maybe. We'll see. Pizza. I like pizza, so when I see pizza, I think good things. A lot of good ones. Harrison says the music changed from the OG to the Mando theme. Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So Donovan here says this feels like more of the same we've seen in the series, but is the series bad though? I don't understand. So this criticism doesn't really work for me because I like the show. I think the show has better episodes. It's more consistently good than it is bad. Yes, there's been bad episodes, but I think it's more consistently good than it's bad. If it's a good show, why not make a movie based on the show? I don't understand.
My issue though is kind of this back and forth, right? Because like when it was announced, my impression was like, okay, we're transitioning the series into a movie franchise. Like that was the idea. But I think the fact we're going back to season 4 after doing the movie, it does make me wonder, outside of it just making money, why make the movie? Like, I think I would have just preferred to just do season 4 than, I don't know. But like, this looks fun.
My thing is, I look, I'm not discounting anybody's take on this. If you don't want to watch it, don't go watch it. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. Do people? I'm asking the people that are sour on this, not the people that just don't have an interest in it. If you don't have an interest in it, you don't have an interest in it. But the people that are kind of sour on it, do we not remember what it's like to go to a movie just to have fun?
Yeah.
Does everything have to be groundbreaking dramas? Does everything have to be world-changing? Does every movie have to be a 10 out of 10 best movie I've ever seen? Or can we just go to the movies and eat some popcorn and have fun with the film? What happened? What happened with that? I'm a little confused. Growing up, there were lots of movies that I went and saw in theaters that have gone on to be like classic movies that did not necessarily, they weren't the biggest movies of all time when they came out. Most of the movies in the 80s and 90s that I love were not massively popular movies. They're just movies that people tend to think of as like nostalgia. Why is it that we can't just have a good time? Is that a fair question? You know, I mean, that's just me. Like, it looks like a fun movie. Is it going to be the best Star Wars movie we've ever had? Probably not. No. Is it going to be groundbreaking and change Star Wars forever? Probably not. But if you like 2 of the 3 seasons, why would you assume the movie is going to be bad when you've liked more than half of the episodes that have been made for the show? I'm so completely confused by this. I don't know. Xana, I feel like this is sort of a bad faith comment because the way movies are released now has changed. The way media works now has changed. Say, for example, take away the show, right? People that have never seen the show before. Imagine there's people out there that don't watch the show on Disney+. Do you think they're going to look at this trailer and be like, it's not as good as the show? No, they're going to look at the trailer and judge the trailer based on how fun the trailer looks to them as a first-time consumer of this stuff. The jaded stuff, like I feel so annoyed sometimes with how jaded the community has become when you have to realize that this is a movie because they believe that this IP probably is the best thing they made for their TV division. They probably know that. And they're like, hey, we can make money off of this and introduce new fans to this in the movie theaters and give them an opportunity to see something they might not have checked out on Disney+. Not everything is done in a way that's misleading or insidious or anything like that. To me, I just feel like this concept that everything has to up the ante every time. I don't. There's TV shows I love that didn't get better or worse, and they were on for 10 years, and I just loved them because I loved watching them. Where are we at in the world now where we're okay with AI slop, but movies where people actually put a lot of heart and soul in them can't put them out? You know what I mean? Serenity, I'm curious. Why doesn't it look fun? I'm going to ask you a question. What about this does it look fun to you? This is a serious question. We have an adventure jumping to different planets with a Mandalorian, a bunch of new characters, a bunch of old characters. We have a new character being introduced to a lot of people for the first time, which is Grogu, who only have ever known the character from seeing him in pictures and cartoons and things like that on the internet. Nothing in this trailer tells me it's going to be boring. It doesn't look like it's going to be full of no action. It looks to me like they're going to have a good time jumping around and doing things from planet to planet to planet. And I think to me that looks like fun.
Yeah. I think this trailer did exactly what I was hoping that they would do is they needed to sell the casual audience. And this looks like a very casual audience kind of movie. This looks like fun summer blockbuster. Get the popcorn, bring the family out, non-committal. And I'm curious to see how they kind of, how much do they recap to the audience who didn't watch 4 seasons of a TV show, right? How much are they going to explain? How much are you going to need to know But yeah, like I feel like I could watch this trailer without having ever seen the show and be like, hey, this looks like a fun movie that I wouldn't mind seeing on a big screen.
Right.
So, yeah.
I want to reiterate, everyone, this trailer isn't just for us. It is for people who may not have ever watched a single episode of The Mandalorian. So, oh, well, if you're not a Star Wars person, that's fine. Like, yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I don't even really, if you could have just said that and I would have been like, okay, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, no offense, that would have been fine. So Donovan says, right now I'm at a point of where I'm more selective with my films I see, and unfortunately this isn't one of them. So you're not even interested at all. I'm just curious. So you have there's nothing in this where you're like, I want to see if it's actually bad. Instead of just assuming it's bad, you don't want to even give it a shot. I'm not saying you have to go and pay for a ticket, but if it came out on streaming and you could watch it for free, you wouldn't even turn it on to see if it's good. I feel like people in the fandom community have been, they've been fed so much shit from social media that you can't even give something a shot to make your own mind up about it. That's pretty crazy to me. I could never do that. I could never look at a trailer for something that I have loved watching and go, you know what? I'm just going to skip it out completely. I'm going to skip on it completely. Because I feel like the internet has told me that I'm not supposed to like this.
Bring up Jason's comment really quickly, because that's the thing I'm going to be really curious about. It's the third to the bottom. One? Yeah. This is going to be the big test, because I think a lot of people are going to have the same state of mind, which makes sense. Mandalorian has been a streaming show. They have been able to sit down and watch it in their homes. Will that transition into the big screen? We saw this. We've seen this with Marvel a lot. Marvel has lost a lot of their in-theater audience because people have been trained, well, in 3 to 4 months, it'll be on Disney+.
This is fair.
Disney Plus shows.
This is a fair criticism.
This is completely fair. If you're like, well, I watched this show with my parents or with my kids, and we all sit down together and get the popcorn, I would completely understand being like, we're not going to watch this in a cinema. We're going to sit down in our living room and watch it. So I am so fascinated with the box office of this movie, because it could either be a massive hit, it could also not do so well. It's surrounded by a lot of other big movies that are coming around the same time. It's a couple weeks before movies like Minions and He-Man and Toy Story. A couple weeks earlier, you have Mortal Kombat. This is the first Star Wars movie in almost 7 years, right? 6-7 years. I'm just so curious. I think there is a lot riding on the box office of this one.
All right. We do have some super chats here. Actually, it's the one here from Staggervore. I wanted to see Novocaine in theaters, not because it looked like the next big thing, but simply because it looked like a fun action comedy. Yeah. I did see a comment. I'm not going to pull it up, but I will read it because I want to keep this up on the screen. Hey, what's up, Crazy Joe? Good to see you. Donovan goes, I grew up on these films, show my youth, very telling who the gatekeepers in this comic. What are we gatekeeping? How am I gatekeeping you by saying you should give it a chance? That's literally the opposite of gatekeeping. Are you talking about me? I'm not telling anybody a gatekeeping was saying, well, you can't watch this. You're not a real fan. That's what gatekeeping is. Doesn't make any sense to me. Inviting people to be a part of something is now gatekeeping. That's crazy. But anyway, yeah, Staggervore, I agree. Like, I like fun movies. I'm not always they're not gonna be 10 out of 10s for me. They're not always gonna be best movies. I saw a lot of movies last year that I thought were just fun movies. I've seen a lot of movies on streaming that are just fun movies. Yeah, I think it's a. I think something's been lost. I don't know what it is yet, and maybe it's not clear to everybody, but I think it's lost. You know, I've said before that having apathy towards something is not the same as feeling negative towards it. It is sort of a psychological fallacy to hate something, but then also say you're apathetic towards it. That if you're apathetic towards it, you have no interest in it at all, meaning you don't have an opinion. You're not motivated to talk about it. You don't engage in it. You're apathetic to it. If you say you're apathetic, but then you also say it sucks or you don't like it or whatever, that's expressing a different emotion than apathy. And I see a couple people using that word, and I'm like, apathetic simply means you don't care about something. It doesn't mean that you hate it and you want to see it fail. That's different.
Did you see who is officially cast in this movie today?
I did. I actually just pulled that up over here. Okay. So, right here. Martin Scorsese is officially confirmed to be the cast of Mandalorian Grogu. And I know which character it was. It was the character at the beginning that he was looking for the huts or whatever, and he like closed up shop. The character even looked like Martin. Now that I think about it, in his face, it did look like a lot like him. Let me see if I can find the shot in the trailer, because that's kind of funny. Right here, yeah. So here goes. It looks like him. It's so funny to me. It's pretty hilarious. His reaction was pretty good. I also think that this movie does something that's really important, and that is it's catering to a family audience, which is a really big deal, right? I've said this for a while now, that this is exactly the kind of stuff that has been doing well in theaters, which is a movie that feels like the whole family can go and watch it together. Most of the movies in the top 5 last year were family movies. Even in the top 10 were family movies. The idea of movies catering to niche audiences and making a ton of money, we need a reset on that right now. And what I mean by niche audiences, you can't rely on one group to come and support something. It has to be multifunctional as a film if it's a big budget movie. Now, if you want to make a $50 million movie and you only care about making $200 or $300 million profit, then go right ahead. But if you're going to be making a movie for $200 million, which by the way, I don't know why anybody's doing that anymore in 2026. But if you want to make a movie that's $200 million movie, it has to cater to a wide net of an audience. And this movie does feel like that. Now, this movie cost about $160 million estimated to make, which is still a little high, but on the low end of like a blockbuster movie. It's, you know, blockbusters are between 200 and 250 million now in budgets. So
for a Star Wars movie, that's dirt cheap, right? Like they're doing well. And again, like I'm curious how they can contrast that with like it's lower than a normal Star Wars, which would typically tell me, oh, they're gonna make that back easily. But like I said earlier, they're also in like complete competition with like. Again, like Disney's biggest, I say this every year, Disney's biggest competition is them damn self, because in a couple weeks they're going to lose a lot of that box office to Toy Story. Toy Story and like Minions. Like those are the two big ones. And then a few weeks after that, they do it again. I guess it's technically Sony, but like with like Spider-Man, right? So it's like, I don't know. It's interesting. I think he'll do fine though. I think we're probably looking at another Superman situation where
like a $600-700 million range.
Yeah, it's not going to be $1 billion. I know some people are like, it's $1 billion in Star Wars. It's not going to make $1 billion. Not in a year as crazy as this. But I think it will do well enough. I think it will make its budget back.
Jonathan here says, unless it's tied to the Skywalker saga, do people really care about these movies? Just look at Solo. Also, it doesn't look any different from the series, so people are more likely to wait for streaming. Okay, so the last part of your statement here about people waiting for streaming, I'm going to bookmark that like Darren was saying. I am curious if we're going to see this movie do much better on streaming than we would expect, because maybe the fans that like it don't care about being spoiled, and they're going to wait anyway for streaming to see it. Secondly, I people go to Solo, but most of the Star Wars movies performed well at the box office. Solo is the one out of the, what was it? We had the 3 sequels. We had Rogue One and we had Solo. Out of those 5 movies, Solo's the only one that underperformed.
Solo also just had a weird, like, it came out the same week as Infinity War, which I still don't it's that one. So, like, I guarantee if they would do it again, right, if, like, Solo came out this year under a normal weekend, it would do so much better than it did back in 2018 when they put that movie out.
I also want to ask the chat, and this is a very scientific question. Are we like, based on all the Star Wars media out there, the cartoons and all the spinoff series and shows or whatever, is it just Skywalker? Is that the only thing that people care about? Because my answer would be no. No. I am not, even though it's the first Star Wars that I ever saw growing up, because I was going to the movie theaters with my parents as a kid when those movies came out. I don't necessarily need Skywalker to be a part of anything in the Star Wars universe. We're talking about a universe, a massive universe. I don't need Star Wars to be the central, or Skywalker to be the central character in the Star Wars universe in all the stories. But I do see this a lot. And I think there is a little bit of division in the fandom of people who like only care about Skywalker, and then a bunch of people that want an expanded universe. I don't think it's realistic to expect everything to be connected to Skywalker. And somebody else pointed in the chat, Rogue One was a well-received movie, and it didn't connect directly to Skywalker. Yeah. And to be fair, Rogue One's connection to Skywalker is the same as Solo's connection to Skywalker, because they're both sets of characters that do connect to the big story, but aren't necessarily directly connected to the Skywalker saga at that point.
Well, we're going to see this like put to the test next year, because we get the Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie.
Last Starfighter, yeah. Right.
Last Starfighter. They've said no established characters, nothing from the Skywalker saga, new characters. It's just about a man that's a Jedi. Like, it's just a new adventure in the Star Wars universe. That is going to be really telling if people show up for that. Are people interested in a new Star Wars movie that isn't Luke and Leia and Yoda and all these characters that people know and love? I think yes. And in fact, I kind of wish that's what they started with. I think that would have been a better return than a movie based on 4 seasons of a TV show.
Yeah,
I think that would have been just a fresh start going into that. I think would have been really cool. But obviously they weren't.
I wonder though, and I wonder if we just haven't had a Star Wars movie in a long time. Do you think they just really wanted to get a movie out there? They needed a movie to come out?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that's like the biggest thing that's been holding them back. Like, I think that's why the franchise is dying a little. Dying is that's a strong word. I don't want to use the word dying. But
well, I would say that there is a disinterest in some of the stuff that's in the universe, based on that. But I also think what's happening with Star Wars is deeper than what people are saying on the internet. I think it's my theory. I think what's happening is we're seeing people who are getting older that just feel like they've outgrown Star Wars. Like, it's just not something that they want to watch anymore. And then you have a group of younger fans that are interested in Star Wars, but you're not seeing an overlap in that. So you have like the older fans who want a specific thing, and if they don't get that, they're not engaged in it. And then you have the younger fans that are willing to watch it, but the studio's going, hey, those people out there, they're not contributing enough to the success of Star Wars, like we see with The Acolyte, right? The Acolyte, a show that I think had a lot of younger fans that were interested in it. And we're going to talk about Star Trek in a second, because I've got some stuff to say about that. But you have younger fans that are interested in it, but they're not able to keep up that same level of momentum that you had when everybody was watching it at the same time, because now we're getting the boomers and the older Gen Xers are pulling away from this media. And that's why it's a big mistake to only cater to that demographic, because that demographic is moving on from this stuff. They're getting older, and they're not, all they care about is their toys from the 80s and 90s. I'm a Gen Xer, and I can tell you there's a lot of Gen Xers and younger boomers that only are baby boomers that only care about that stuff, and they're never going to be on board with anything that does not look and feel exactly like that thing they remember when they were living in the 90s. They're just not.
Yeah. And like TV shows are also just, they're hard for people to get into, man. They are, like, it's a lot harder of a pitch to be like, okay, I'm going to go see a movie once every Christmas, and that's how they consume the media. To like, okay, here's an 8-episode journey that you get to go on, and that's all that comes out. Like, you're going to lose people a little bit. Like imagine if Marvel did that. Imagine they didn't put out Doctor Strange, they didn't put out new Spider-Man, they only did TV shows. They only did Miss Marvel and Secret Invasion and Loki. The Marvel fan base would not be what it is now. Like, I think it would have fallen off a lot harder than people have in this last saga. So I think returning to the cinemas, I think is going to remind people like, oh, I do love Star Wars. Oh, this is a medium I love. And again, hopefully get that older audience back on board, and hopefully get some of these kiddos back into Star Wars.
So I think the issue is, let me try. And by the way, hello, Joe. Thank you for jumping on the stream. I saw you in the chat because I want to get your opinion on this as well. But imagine this. This is what we're dealing with, chat. Now I'm going to break it down in probably the best way that I can understand how to explain it. You're a parent. You got kids. You might have grandkids. And you love Cher, you love Madonna, you love Cyndi Lauper. Your kids love Fall Out Boy and Savage Garden and all of these like obscure or Nirvana. Just I'm naming off things from the 90s. They love these bands, and then your grandkids love Charlie XCX and Kim Petras and I don't know, BB No Money. Like, they love it. And you're all trying to go see a concert together. You know what I mean? That's not going to work. It's spread too wide. So what happens is you have to pick which direction you want to go. You either want to go younger, you want to go and say, hey, I'm going to put out that concert that has all of these artists from like the last 15 years. Right? Those are the ones we're going to go see. And then we're going to throw in a few people from the 90s so we can get the parents and the kids, leaving the grandparents completely excluded. Or you go, I'm going to cater to the older crowd, the grandparents, and then maybe have some of those younger 90s bands in there, but we can't fit in the 2000s guys because that's too big of a spread. You have to actually make a decision. The studios have to make a decision. And I feel like the younger baby boomers and the older Gen Xers have to just be, you cannot, I don't want to say excluded because that's not really the term I'm looking for here, but they cannot be the main focus of media coming out today. There's not enough of them to sustain the success of this. So you have to widen the net. And that's not true, Jason. There's an older Star Wars fandom and there's a younger Star Wars fandom. There's a fandom that loves the cartoons that came out in the 2000s that aren't necessarily the older crowd. The Star Wars fandom is wide. There's a lot of different people that like a lot of different things.
There's the young generation that grew up on the sequel trilogy.
Yes.
Who thinks that's fantastic.
Yeah. I think when you say the older crowd is where the Star Wars fandom is, it's the loud minority on social media that complain about everything. That's why it seems like that's the only Star Wars fandom. It is not. It is not. Like, Star Wars fandom is very fragmented, which is why you put out a show like The Acolyte. You're going to get a portion of the fandom that likes The Acolyte, but then you're going to get a portion of the fandom that just doesn't want to watch it at all. And so what happens is you get studios that see this and they go, we're not making enough money because we're not getting enough people to tune into it. And they don't know how to do that because we live in an era. Let me put this in perspective. In the 80s, when we grew up, Joe, we didn't go back and watch, TV shows and listen to music from the 1920s and 1930s. Like, I don't think it.
I feel like our generation watched what was on. We were the rerun generation. Like we watched, maybe not as old as 20s and 30s, but we watched Gilligan's Island and the Brady Bunch.
So let's take this again. So 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. That's 60 years. Joe, we were not consuming 60-year-old media when we were kids in the 80s.
I was a little bit.
I think that's a little bit like we did not have access to it. People now, kids can go back and watch movies from the 70s and 80s online easily. We did not have that ability in the 80s.
But I mean, we had the Universal monster movies. They dated back to the 30s. Three Stooges, you know.
But it all came down. It's a little bit of it, but that's, I think for me, when people throw 80s parties at clubs now, we didn't necessarily go out and have sock hops every weekend. That wasn't what we did in the 80s, right? So what I'm saying is there's a difference in the way we're consuming the media now. And so people don't understand that if you're a kid that is born in 2009, and you want to go back and watch movies from the 70s and 80s, it is really easy to do that now. It is really easy to become a fan of stuff. In the 80s, if we wanted to watch something from 60 years ago, you had to hunt it down or hope that you saw it when it reran on television. So the fandoms were different. Now you can build those fandoms around access to stuff. Look, what the hell is a sock hop? Oh my God. But I'm just saying, like, when I say nobody was watching it, that's a little hyperbolic. It just wasn't as easily as accessible as it is now based on where the media is. So you get kids, a friend of mine who does hair, her daughter loves 1970s rock and roll. Like all of those bands from the 1970s and even the early 80s. She loves that stuff. Because now you can go on Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube and watch all those old concerts easily. It's type it in and it's right there for you. We did not have that when we grew up. So we got very attached to the stuff that we grew up on because it's what we were exposed to. Now we have a wider spread of fandoms because of the way the internet has changed media consumption. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. And a lot of the older generation, not us, Joe, because we're with the cool kids. You know, we're on social media interacting with them. We're with the cool kids. And you even go out and seek out stuff. By the way, Crazy Joe's Adventures, he's got a great video that he did the other day where he went and found this, like, what was the name of the shop that you went to, the video you've been doing really well on the channel?
Laser Library.
Yeah. Went out there and checked out Laser Library, and you're seeing all this return to media. And what did they say in that video? The younger kids are now coming in and looking for DVDs, Blu-rays, and even VHS, which I was shocked that he said people are looking for VHS right now. So when people say that this media is only for an older generation, I don't believe that. I think that it's a widespread net with a lot of little pockets of fandoms. And I don't think the studios understand, or they haven't figured out yet how to reach everybody under the tent. I think that's the problem. That's just my opinion on it. I mean, people are welcome to disagree with me, and that's fine. But Joe, what I wanted to ask you, because Darren and I have talked quite a lot about it, what did you think of the trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu? Man,
I love this trailer. I've loved every trailer for this so far. This is Mandalorian and Grogu is my number one most anticipated film of the year. I can't wait for this movie. I'm probably going to take off work the day it comes out and just see the first show of the day. But no, it really looks like so much fun. It looks like so much fun. And the TV show, you know, like I keep saying, every time we see people say it's the same as the TV show, they're only saying that because it's a TV show.
Right.
Like if there was no TV show called Mandalorian and Grogu, you would not be hearing that complaint. Because honestly, the TV show looks like a movie.
Right. That's my point. Yeah, right. I said that earlier. Yeah.
But this looks bigger than the TV show. Like this doesn't even look like this could be. This looks even like bigger and grander than the TV show. So that's like worthless criticism because it doesn't have merit. Darren
froze. I was like, wait, did Darren freeze up? He does. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
They're just saying it because it doesn't require any thought. It's based on a TV show, so they could say, "Oh, it looks like a TV show." Like I remember when Star Trek Insurrection came out. Okay, the third Star Trek: The Next Generation movie. People kept saying this is like an episode of the TV show, but no, it wasn't. Because it was all shot out on location, and the TV show didn't have the budget for that.
So I think Mayo Jufro here. Are you talking about the complaint that it looks like the TV show? Is that what John Campia keeps saying? I'm gonna make a controversial hot take here. But if people are just going to wait for it to come out on streaming anyway, then why not make it look like a TV show? what incentive do they have to make it super cinematic if every fucking person is going to sit at home and wait for it to come out on streaming? That's what people keep saying.
I mean,
I'm just going to wait for it to come on streaming, so why the fuck make it look like a movie if you guys are just going to wait for it to come out at home anyway?
I can't wrap my head around how anyone could be a Star Wars fan and say they're going to wait for this to come on streaming. What? Haven't all the Star Wars fans been complaining for the past 6 years that why aren't they making movies? Why aren't they making movies? They make a movie and you go, I'm going to wait for streaming. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
man.
I also want to see, and Darren mentioned it before he popped out of here, but we have that Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie coming out as well, and I'm curious if they're going to go and support that or if they're just going to ignore it and wait for it to come out on streaming. I don't know. We'll have to see.
By the way, I just got out of my second movie of the day.
What did you see today?
I just got out of Cold Storage.
Okay.
With Liam Neeson and Joe Keery.
Mm-hmm.
Fun little movie. But earlier today, I saw what I am now convinced is one of the best movies of the 2020s.
Okay.
Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Oh, I saw the trailer or the preview for that. Yeah.
That movie is spectacular.
Okay.
It's one of the best science fiction movies in years. It is.
Who directed that?
Gore Verbinski.
Okay.
It's really smart. It's got a quirky sense of humor. It's very original. A great movie.
Darren, you froze and then you blipped out. I was like, oh, I think he froze, and I was gonna say something, and then you were just gone. So.
Yeah, my whole thing just, I don't know, freaked out. It kicked me out completely.
Wait, your computer or StreamYard?
My computer was glitching out. Like I was trying to do some editing stuff on the side, and it wasn't having both at the same time.
That's pretty crazy. So,
look at this. I'm sorry. What? Jason? Was it Jason Deerham?
Yeah, right here.
Says I only watch MCU and DCU movies at the cinema. Why, Jason? There's so much good out. Like 2024 was one of the best years for movies in years. There's so many gems out there. That's only like that means you're seeing like 3 movies a year. Like there's like quality coming out week after week after week.
So Kevin here says, look, I'm gonna pull back a little bit on this because I know people think that I was coming in hot on it. I'm not ever. I never want people to feel like I am trying to say you have to go support something. You have to go see this movie, blah blah blah, etc. etc. That's never my take on it. I am not the movie police, right? I'm not going to twist your arm and lock you up if you don't go see something. I just get a little confused because I think when I want to go see a movie, I just want to have a good time. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking about. So Kevin here says, the movie looks fun, but it doesn't have that must-see cinematic vibe that I would get from an Infinity War trailer. I'm guessing that's what people might be thinking. Kevin, I think what you're touching on is something that Joe also mentioned here, and Darren has sort of talked about this. Because it is based on a TV series, a lot of people think of it as a TV series. And therefore, the movie for them, there's nothing this movie can do, and I mean this. This movie could put out a trailer that's the best trailer we've seen in a decade. There's nothing this movie could do in its trailer to convince people that they must go see it in theaters because they've already decided that they're just going to watch it at home. Is that fair? Is that a fair take?
Have you ever noticed that like attitudes seem to change? Because we used to go see movies based on TV shows. Mm-hmm. There were 13 Star Trek movies. People went to see them, right, with a couple of exceptions. There were a couple that didn't do too well, but most of them did fairly well. People didn't go, I'm not going to go see Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. That's a TV show. They went and saw it. But I noticed, like, it's like a time will come and something will click in people's minds and they'll just suddenly get this idea and then they'll flip on a dime. Like, for example, several years ago, Amazon Prime tried to turn Zombieland into a TV series. And they recast all the roles from the movie for television. And people rejected it. And people said, no, you should have never recast those roles. You should have made it be about new characters, not recast the characters. And I was thinking to myself, what the hell are you talking about? Every TV show in history based on a movie, MASH, Mr. Belvedere, it's like you go down the
Ferris
list.
Bueller's Day Off.
Ferris Bueller, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
They recast the characters from the movie. And people are acting like this was a disgrace that they recasted the characters for Zombieland. And I'm like, what world are you living in? This is what they have always done when a movie turns into a TV series.
I also want to point out that we have been spoiled on the TV side. Joe said that he went and got a TV specifically to watch Wonder Woman 84 because it came out on streaming. There's a level of quality, and I know people don't want to admit it because it's too edgy to say this, but TV shows in general have now upped themselves to cinematic quality in most cases. And because of that, the barrier of entry for quality television has changed, and therefore movies have not changed to adjust for the quality of TV shows. And I think that's the big issue, is that everyone wants a movie to look like something. It's got to be a 10 out of 10, incredible every single time, because you have TV shows that are so good. Like, we looked at the trailer for Legacy of Monsters, the Monarch trailer, right? That looks like a movie. And that's an Apple TV show. The problem is that is what TV is doing now. And you've got to blame that on COVID as well, because COVID fast-tracked that. Because people were stuck at home and studios were like, we need to make TV better. And we need to make more streaming shows because people can't leave their houses, and they're probably going to be locked down we were locked down for almost 2 years off and on where I live. So they kept making content for people to watch at home, and we've not been able to adjust from that because the studios want to keep pushing for that. And that's where their heads are right now. So I think a lot of people have been trained because of that. They've been trained to think that everything has to look a certain way or be a certain way. That's why people joke about the CW shows. It looks like a CW show. There was a time when the CW shows were the standard TV show. Like, that's the way everything looked. Think about Star Trek Voyager and go back to Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise. The contrast of that show and all of the modern Star Trek shows is drastic. It's such a drastic change in the way Star Trek looked on TV. To get the special effects we get on Star Trek TV shows, you had to go to the movie theaters. That's where you would see that at. And now you have something like Starfleet Academy, where they have the largest practical set they've ever had for one of their TV shows, with special effects that rival that of movies in a TV series. That's where we are right now with these shows. And I think that people have been spoiled. I think that's the problem. We've been spoiled on really good TV. And it's gotten so good, shows like Starfleet Academy aren't even resonating with people 100% because the bar is so high that now you can't even just enjoy a TV show as a TV show because everything is treated like a movie. And it's movie criticism. These guys that do movie criticism try to criticize TV shows, and they watch the episodes like each episode is a movie. That's not the way TV shows work. TV shows are long form, meaning the story takes place over an entire season and then over an entire series. When you go see a movie, you might be going to a movie where that's the only one we're ever going to get. And so criticism can be valid in that because you might not get questions answered in that one movie. There might not be a sequel that's going to explain why the certain character disappeared into a blink of energy or something. You might not know that, but on a TV show, you might get those answers. A really good example with Starfleet Academy, and one of my criticisms early on in the series was, why is a character in this far in the future using sign language? And they complained about this. All the chuds complained about it. But I sat back and I said, I'm not going to complain about it because I wonder if they're going to explain why the damage was done and why the situation is the way it is with this Betazoid character. And then in the most recent episode, they explained why, because it's a TV show and it took them a few episodes to get to the point where they could explain why that happened. And it makes sense. Once it's explained in the show, you're like, okay, now I understand why. Now it makes sense to me. But that's not what they do. They complain about stuff too early.
They'll complain about somebody using sign language on Starfleet Academy. but all of them claim to revere Next Generation. There was a character on Next Generation, Riva. The episode was called Loud as a Whisper, and he was deaf, and he used sign language.
Yeah.
And nobody complained then.
All right, so we're going to end the stream talking about Starfleet Academy. I'm not going to really spoil anything from the most recent episode, but I do want to talk a little bit about it. We were going to do a bonus topic, but I was expecting to have 4 people, and we only had 2 for most of the stream. But now we have 3, and it's still not enough to do what I wanted to do. So we're just going to do this here. This is one of the things I'm seeing going around social media, and I want to do what I always do, which is debunk this stuff. Now, I do want to say thank you guys. Staggervore over here did contribute to the final super chat on the Reloaded channel to reach the goal. So thank you, Staggervore. We are still 3 out of 5 on the Debunks channel, which is a bonus stream. Here is what we're going to be doing. I will bonus stream one day, either next week or the week after. It's either going to be a Monday, a Tuesday, a Thursday, or a Saturday. And if we hit the goal at the top, you guys get to determine what day you get a bonus stream from me. And it will be a reaction stream where I'm going to react to a bunch of videos all in one stream. Now, with that being said, Star Trek Starfleet Academy premiere fails to make the Nielsen top 10 streaming chart. Now, I see this little chart going around. Nerdrotic has posted it. Several other people have posted it right here. Okay. I want you guys to take a look at what's on this chart. I think it's really important to understand what we're looking at here. So, there's a lot of shows on here that have multiple seasons. Because when they take into account the streaming Nielsen, so first of all, Nielsen ratings are outdated for streamers. They don't function the same way they did back in the day. I used to be in a household where we had a Nielsen box when I was a kid, and they would rate shows that way. Nowadays, they have it's unfinished information or what word am I looking for here? They don't have all of the numbers. So they're only given the minutes that these streamers release to them, and they're not usually 100% accurate. So right away, they're dealing with numbers that aren't confirmed 100%. Secondly, they're competing with shows that have multiple seasons. You look over there on the right side, it tells you how many episodes these shows have. So in order for a show to break in with a premiere episode, that premiere episode has to have more minutes watched as one episode versus shows with 42 episodes or 20 episodes or 17 episodes. It just doesn't normally happen. You can look at a lot of new shows. They don't usually break into the Nielsen ratings in streaming because of that. So that's the reason why. Number one, it's just an outdated system. It also doesn't count. If you're watching on your tablet, it doesn't count. If you're watching on your phone, it doesn't count. If you're watching on your laptop, it doesn't count. You know what counts? When you watch it on your TV screen. When you watch it on your smart TV. That's the only minutes that get counted for Nielsen. So right away, you might go, well, that means that this isn't a really good way to judge this. Get on here, it says, in the article, while the Nielsen ratings are well regarded and reported weekly by the Hollywood trades, the world of streaming ratings is still somewhat opaque and not nearly as clear-cut as broadcast and cable ratings. Last month, we reported that rival data firm Luminate showed Academy outperforming other recent Star Trek premieres from Paramount+. However, both Luminate and Nielsen agree that the Taylor Sheridan-produced shows like Landman have been much better performers. Why are we comparing Star Trek to Landman? What a arbitrary comparison.
Star Trek has always been niche programming. Like, if you put Star Trek on television, you put the most popular Star Trek, you put Star Trek The Next Generation on network television, it's always going to lose to a show like Law and Order because that appeals to the masses and Star Trek is niche.
Yes.
It's just the way it is.
But, I mean, my point is, though, why that show specifically? You know why? Because that show had that one scene that we've already debunked where they were talking about a non-binary character and some white blonde woman that was complaining with the non-binary character. And so they think it's a good culture war battle. But there's nothing about the two shows that are similar. It's not even the same audience. You're not comparing it to the same audience. It's really weird. It's really fucking strange. So yeah, for me, and also I want to debunk this. Remember when they had said that they removed the first episode, because they were worried about the blowback from it having dislikes on it and everything? And I said, no, it's probably because they're going to put it into some sort of like, try Paramount Plus for free, because it was out for a month and then it went to something different. Well, guess what? Episode 1, Kids These Days, is now part of the try Paramount Plus free, where you click on it, it wants you to sign up. Just like I said it was going to do when I made my debunking video on this 3 weeks ago. So yet again, I was right about this, and these fucking awful, hateful channels were wrong. As they will always be. I will always be right, and they will always be wrong. That's just the way it goes. All right, so Darren shared a couple things here. Let's take a look at this. Chris Hemsworth says he'll return as Thor a couple more times after Avengers Doomsday. We've got some ideas to do something pretty unique and hopefully be different. I don't have a problem with this. I don't think, because Jane Foster was a character that only was Thor for one movie, unfortunately, I feel like it's fine to continue Thor. I don't really see an issue with this. How do y'all feel about this? Is this a problem for you, or?
We've heard Thor 5 being talked about for years now. Like, it seems like I think he's in a weird spot, because I don't think he's quite done yet, but I think he's looking at his path. Like, I think he's like, all right, I've been doing this for a minute. I've been doing this, nearly
Unfortunately, his movie that came out this past week is not doing well.
Yeah. I think
It was
he's probably...
tough competition this week, though. It came out against Wuthering Heights, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, The Goat, and and Cold Storage. It was a crowded week.
I think he does Doomsday. I think he does Secret Wars. Maybe does a cameo in something else, like another project or whatever. But then I think they wrap it up with Thor 5. I could see it being like, all right, I want one final outing. Because I don't think Chris Hemsworth wants his final Thor movie. I'm so sorry, Joe. I know you love it. But Chris Hemsworth does not like Love and Thunder. Like, he's been on the record multiple times being like, it was a little too much for me. So I think he probably wants to like set the record straight a little bit. Be like, all right, I want to go out on my own terms.
Everything goes back to Love and Thunder. It's like it's that particular movie that everything just returns to Love and Thunder. That's pretty funny.
I'm very excited about a Thor 5. I love the Thor movies, with the exception of the second one, which isn't awful. You know, people are like, oh,
I like the second one. I don't know why everybody's so hard on that one. I think Loki is great in that movie.
See, I think it's one of the weakest MCU movies, but I don't think it's a bad movie.
I don't think the antagonist in that is very good, but I like Loki in that movie. I think Loki has a really good storyline.
I'm very disappointed Taika Waititi's not coming back for the fifth one. But that's okay, because Taika Waititi didn't do the first one, and the first one was great. So I think they can survive without Taika.
So who do you like? Before we move on, we have a couple more small things to discuss here and some super chats. Who would you like to see direct the fifth Thor movie?
It's hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of great directors out there that...
Chloe Zhao?
Who was it? See, I don't know. The tone is everything. I mean, with Thor, with a Marvel movie, you want to have a lot of heart, a lot of action, a little bit of humor. It's a tough mix. There was a director, Little Movie Perp and I can't remember her name. Little Movie Perp and I were very, very impressed by a director a couple of years ago. And, but I don't know if she has a Marvel movie in her.
I think they're going to move away from funny Thor.
Yeah.
I think that would be a mistake.
I think that's what they're going to do, though. Based on what we saw in the preview of Doomsday, it looks like we're going back to like Thor 1, like the first and second Thor iterations.
People didn't like that Thor as much, though. Like, Thor really came to life. Like, I mean, but Thor was funny in the first one too, though. Like, I mean,
yeah, I think they're going to go back to that where it's funny but not like over the top.
There has to be a balance. There just has to be a balance. I think
Well, there was a lot of balance in Love and Thunder. You had
I
humor,
don't-
you had
I
heart,
don't
you had a storyline about Jane Foster dying of cancer. You had a storyline about
I think Darren means balance with Thor, the character, right? Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, like I agree there are elements of like levity in Love and Thunder, but it never, in my opinion, again, I don't want to take away your opinion whatsoever, but I don't think it ever lets those scenes sit enough. Like every time there's a bit of levity, it cuts to a joke, it cuts to a thing that kind of, in my opinion, messes up the tone a little bit. My favorite tone for Thor to this day, and I think me and you agree with this, Eric, is Infinity War.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect tone. He is a little silly, he's a little goofy, but he's still a very serious character. I think he kind of lets the silliness surround Thor instead of Thor himself being this little goofball. I'm not saying Thor can't be a goofball sometimes. He's going to be a dad now, and that's going to allow a little bit more of that humor to be able to shine through. But also, like, I really, really want this story about him and his daughter. I kind of want, not on the same tone level, because I think this would be going too far, but I kind of want, like, a Logan-esque Thor movie that is this kind of more emotional, I will protect this thing I found.
So you want it like very pared back. You want like minimal humor, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying there can't be humor. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But I would like to go. I would like to just kind of. Again, I just want a balance. I think a balance is all I'm asking for. Like maybe a little less than Ragnarok, because I think Ragnarok, it was still a little too goofy for me. But I think that was at least a better middle ground than what they did in Love and Thunder. But again, yeah, like I think something like in Infinity War is a great tone for me, where he's allowed to be goofy still, but that's a dark Thor. Like that's a Thor that's a little bit more emotional and allows him to breathe a little bit more.
I found her name, by the way. Arkasha Stevenson.
What movie was it?
She was the director of The First Omen. I don't know if you've seen The First Omen, but it was really well directed. And if there's one thing we know, there has been a great success rate of people going from horror to superhero films. So that would be a good choice, I think. I don't know if she's right for Thor, but that's a possible name. Yeah. There's some. Or what about Ron Howard's daughter? She's done episodes of The Mandalorian. She's ready to step up to the big leagues.
What about Guillermo del Toro? What if he did a Thor movie?
I don't know. You'd ever get him. He loves to announce projects and not get to them.
Yeah. What about Matthew Vaughn?
I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
I think I'd prefer to see somebody new, like somebody who
Greta Gerwig, right? Get her on there.
Greta Gerwig's great. It would be great to see somebody like step up though that we really haven't seen do this kind of thing before, though.
Yeah.
I typically would agree, but if Thor 5, I guess that depends if Thor 5 is the finale, right? If this is the last one ever,
Bryce Dallas Howard, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of don't even like completely disagree like with the Russo. I don't think they would do it. But if this is his final outing ever, if this is Chris Hemsworth's like final goodbye outing, Russo's isn't a bad choice. Like they've worked with Thor quite a bit over the years. Like I think
Michael Bay.
Oh God!
God no! Please.
Oh God! Just get Taika Waititi back if you're gonna go that route.
Oh well, but Joe would be.
There's a difference though. Taika Waititi, good movies.
If they came out and said that Taika Waititi has come back to do Thor 5, Joe would be so excited.
I would be very happy. I would be very, very happy.
You know what? He'll be too busy because I think he's going to go back to a Shang-Chi. But Destin Daniel Craig is on a roll right now. I think he'd make a baller Thor movie. I think if he put what he did into Shang-Chi, into Wonder Man, and what I think he's going to do with Spider-Man, keep that man employed. Keep giving that man movies. Holy shit!
How about Kenneth Branagh, who did the first Thor movie?
I'd be down. I really enjoyed that first Thor movie.
Wouldn't that be cool to bring him back in?
I would actually kind of like that. Yeah.
Reed Coles just gave a great name, Michael Giacchino.
Yeah.
Michael Giacchino, obviously people know him for his musical composing, but he's directing now. He directed Werewolf by Night.
And he's doing that sequel as well. Yeah.
Based on Werewolf by Night, I'm curious what he would do with a Thor movie.
Yeah.
You know who else is really good and needs to do another live action movie? Hasn't done a live action movie in years. Brad Bird. Brad Bird did what? You don't like Brad Bird?
I love Brad Bird. I love him.
No,
Guy
Brad
Ritchie
Bird.
would be crazy, Jason. I'm curious what a Thor movie with Guy Ritchie would look like.
Sam Raimi would be insane. I don't know if I'd give him Thor, but I'd want to give him something again.
What about Jordan Peele?
I don't know if
He's good.
Can you imagine him in a Thor movie? That would be pretty great.
I want him in something. I don't know if I'd give him Thor, but maybe. I don't know.
All right. Well, we have another article here, and then we're going to do super chats. This is one that Darren shared also. McKenna Grace has been cast as Daphne in the live-action Scooby-Doo series coming soon to Netflix. What are your thoughts on that? You shared it, so I'm assuming you have some opinion on it.
I'm kind of excited for the show. I don't know. I've kind of always wanted like a live-action Scooby-Doo show.
Is this going to be like Velma?
I would love it. I don't think this is what they're doing. But I would absolutely love it if this live-action TV series was based on Keith Giffen's comic book, Scooby Apocalypse.
It's not.
Like, that comic book was phenomenal, and that is like begging for a live-action treatment. So,
it seems like it's going to be more in line with like a Mystery Incorporated kind of vibe, more like like people get pissed when I say it because they're like, no, that show sucks. But I think in vibe, like a Riverdale kind of esque, like a little bit more teen drama. Not Riverdale, hopefully. I don't think they're going to go that far. But like just in terms of like teen drama with the Riverdale or with the Scooby-Doo characters, which I think with who those characters are, I think that translates well into live action. Like I like we've already seen that done in a couple of other adaptations. So I do think out of all the like cartoons turned live action, I think Scooby-Doo is the easiest to make that transition.
Well, I also think it's because the actual characters are almost all human beings as opposed to like most of the animated stuff we get. They're just regular people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so with that being said, we have our final two super chats here. One of them, or actually both of them are from South Texas Shark, which, by the way, we hit the goal in the Debunks channel. Thank you guys so much. Did you see what happened to Stephen Colbert? I mean, the only thing I know is what the last thing I saw, which is he's saying one thing and the FCC is saying another, and that's really what's happening. So, are you guys familiar with this, with the Stephen Colbert stuff?
Unless there's a new twist, yes.
Yeah, well, this was about interviewing a politician. Did you hear about this? Okay, yeah. So
I mean, has something happened since then? Like he's saying, did you see what happened? Like was Colbert fired afterwards?
No. Like, so basically what happened was Stephen Colbert came out and said that he was going to do an interview with one of the candidates from Texas, and that the studio told him, because of the government stuff with Brendan Carr and the FCC, that there's an equal time clause, and he would have to give these interviews to any person in that race that wanted to come on the show. That he couldn't air his interview because he hadn't extended that to one of the other people. I think Jasmine Crockett was one of the people that was supposed to be, he was going to talk to Jasmine or whatever. Anyway, he came out and said it, even though he said he wasn't supposed to. And surprise, surprise, the FCC and the studio are like, no, we didn't say that. Now, guys, I need you to understand, why the fuck would he do this interview, which we know the interview exists. It's already circulating on social media. Why the fuck would he do the interview and then not air it and then be like, oh yeah, I couldn't air it because of this reason? Why would he do that and not just air the interview on his show? He was told not to do it. The studio wouldn't even think about this. The studio spent the money to do the interview. So if the studio told him, no, you can't do it, they have every right to do that because it's their money. They're the ones that paid for it.
They also told him he wasn't allowed to talk about it, but he did. So that's why I thought when he said, "Did you see what happened?" I thought, is there fallout? Yeah. Did they fire him? You know?
So what's more likely here? That the studio spent a bunch of money for Steven to go and interview a candidate and then just decided out of the blue to shelve the segment entirely for no good reason whatsoever, or the corrupt government came down and told the studio that they had to adhere to whatever the FCC told them, and then they tried to keep them quiet about it. Which one of those things seems the most likely? I'll tell you, it's not the second one. Or it's not the first one. Like the studio is not going to spend money and then just throw money away like that for no reason. So, anyway, thank you for the super chat. Also, South Texas Shark 2 super chat. Tubi recently acquired a lot of cartoons. I saw the super chat and I went and I looked to see what they acquired. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Animaniacs, Powerpuff Girls, Teen Titans, Dexter's Laboratory, Ed, Ed and Eddie, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ben 10 from 2005, Pinky and the Brain, Justice League, Batman the Brave and the Bold, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Codename Kids Next Door, The Mask, Tasmania, Yogi's Gang, Abbott and Costello cartoons, Addams Family, all of them from 1974, Baby Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Wacky Races, Shaolin Showdown, Cow and Chicken, the animated Beetlejuice Saturday morning cartoon, Captain Planet, Duck Dodgers, Top Cat, Yogi Bear Show, and a catalog of Looney Tunes cartoons. The one that sounds really weird to me is Batman the Brave and the Bold.
I love that show.
That one's like, really? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I interviewed the creators of that show on my podcast once. One of them went on to direct the Super Mario movie, but Michael Mjölnirs. But
remember in 2020, I think it was 2020, when HBO Max was launching and they advertised themselves the home of Cartoon Network. That was like one of their big pitches. All the Cartoon Network shows, pretty much everything that they ever made was all on one streaming platform, the HBO Warner Brothers streaming platform. How sad is it to have a streaming platform for Warner Brothers? It's their platform, and Tubi's out here being like, nope, now we're the home of Cartoon Network. That's so sad.
David Zaslav hates animation. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So I was just looking here. Tubi is now one of the largest streaming platforms in the world. It actually, someone was saying that Tubi actually has movies and TV shows you can't find anywhere that are now on Tubi. That you can't. They don't have any sort of physical media, and they're not streaming anywhere. So that's pretty incredible.
Good for
honestly.
Them. Yeah,
Tubi is ad supported, but I mean, if you were to just put it on the background while you're doing stuff, it's fine.
I wish Tubi did have a pay tier, so you didn't have to watch the ads. Like, I know that's their big thing; it's free, but it's like, if you could just add a tier where I could pay and skip the ads, I would, because their content's great.
The CEO came out and said that they wanted it so if people buy a new television, they can immediately download Tubi and start watching their service. So
which is like their whole marketing thing is like. Their whole thing is like, screw Netflix. Just get us, and you can watch all these.
Well,
free.
YouTube is the most streamed platform in the world by a massive margin. People consume more media on YouTube 3 times more than the next competitor, which is Netflix.
And that's becoming a lot more popular. Just for like studios to be like, hey, let's just do these live streams. Like, let's do like, I know like Power Rangers does this, like Friends does this, like a lot of those sitcoms would do that, where their show will just stream 24/7 on YouTube, and it will rank, like there'll be thousands of people watching it every single day nonstop, and that brings in a lot of money.
Let me tell you, the OG streaming service that I used to use back in the day was a site called Blog TV. It existed between like 2010 and 2013. The wild west on that, right? They had channels that played Family Guy 24/7, Simpsons 24/7, and you would go into those chat rooms and there would just be hundreds and thousands of people watching that and chatting together. And that's what's happening now on YouTube with a lot of these IPs. Is you go into the chat and people are just there talking, studying, doing work, and while this stuff is playing in the background for free. So it's pretty crazy. All right. Anything else before we look at our poll results, or are we good?
I don't got nothing else.
Okay. So let's see what you guys picked for the bonus streaming day over on the Reloaded chat here. Let's see here in poll. You guys want me to stream bonus debunking stuff on a Saturday by a large margin. Okay. Fair enough. So that will be in between the after parties. I will do a bonus Saturday stream. Bonus Saturday stream. I do have a big announcement I'm going to make as well that I promised everybody. All right. In the Reloaded chat, you guys have selected... let's see. Good, bad, or bad movies and TV shows. Now, I explained that earlier, Joe, when you weren't here. But what we're going to do is you will present 3 options, like we'll do the wheel and everything, of TV shows that you or movies that you think are so bad they're good. So things that are not like the pinnacle of art. You know what I mean? They're just they're movies that like I can think of an example for me, like Showgirls. Showgirls is a movie that I know it's a bad movie because it wasn't intending to be as campy as it was, but it ended up being a camp classic. That would be like a good bad movie for me. It's like so bad that it's good. So that's what that category is. Let me put that in the notes. All right. All right. Now, the big announcement that I'm going to make is I'm creating a new vertical live stream show. And right now, as it stands, it will just be me. And what I'll be doing is giving my thoughts and opinions on all of the shows I watched for the week. So like Daredevil, Invincible, it'll be sort of like a weekly roundup of those shows, and it will be vertical only, and it will be on the Reloaded channel only. We're going to test it out there first. So if you're on the Debunks channel and you're not subscribed to Eric's Reloaded, come over and subscribe to Eric's Reloaded specifically so you can get that content. And that will start as a stream I'll be doing once a week. I don't know the time yet. I haven't figured out, but it'll start in March when we're watching shows and we're reviewing shows. And that will be a separate new stream that I'll be creating specifically to chat with you guys. So that was the big announcement. And, I might have one guest on, because I'll be honest, vertical live streaming on StreamYard is a little weird at the moment. So more than 2 people, the screen gets really weird. So we'll see. Anyway, before we go, Joe, any shout outs you want to do for your stuff before we get out of here?
Just if you can, give Crazy Joe Adventures a look. I've been really trying to push that channel, and I'm proud. I'm proud of some of the stuff I've been putting out there. The laser library video that you mentioned, I couldn't believe that how that really took off. It found an audience, and I didn't expect that. I did it. I've done other videos that I thought, oh yeah, this is going to do really well. And it didn't do half as well as that one. So yeah.
Okay. Darren, anything you want to shout out before we go?
Yeah, I got Pipeline Thursday. Joe will be proud of me. We did our Muppets episode this week. We did a draft of all 8 theatrical Muppet movies with a pretty big Muppets creator, so that was fun to do. And after the credits with me and Taz on Mondays, we're hopping into some Shrinking that recently came back. We're doing some Black Mirror right now, so yeah, check that out.
All right, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll be live again on Thursday, and don't forget, starting not next week, but the week after, the Monday streams will move to Tuesdays for the duration of the spring into the summer, and then we might shift back again. All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you later. Hey there, if you're seeing this, that means we have reached the end of the stream. Thanks so much for your continued support with comments, likes, subscriptions, super stickers, and super chats. I just want to give a special shout out to all of the channel members who have contributed to the success of this channel with paid tiers. On the screen, you will see your name displayed as a signal of appreciation from myself and the channel. If you would like to see your name on this list, consider selecting a tier with the join or plus button depending on your platform. Thanks again, everyone. Let's hang out soon in the next stream, and I'll see you then.